everybody. This is William del Pilar, and this is a fired up clip. So there's still a lot of conservative hate going out there. It's the same playbook, the same blueprint leftists, Democrats, and Republican rhinos are trying to use. And it's not just those individuals, it extends to our institutions of education. In a topic I am calling West Point's Factual Fumble, Unveiling Corruption and Media Bias in the New Age of Political Journalism. Who am I talking about? Pete Hegseth. Hegseth has been nominated by President-elect Donald Trump to serve as Secretary of Defense. A combat veteran, a hero to his troops, who would always lead from the front, never from behind. He's been viciously attacked, and they're all anonymous sources and a mainstream media that has only shown one-sided attacks, all against Hegseth to try to discredit him and keep him from becoming Secretary of Defense. So what are some of the allegations he's faced? Sexual assault, mismanagement of funds at previous nonprofit organizations, alcohol abuse. Hegseth denies these allegations. On the sexual assault, the police report, we're not going to pursue this. Why? When you read the police report, it was obvious she was lying. The mismanagement of funds at previous nonprofit organizations. He explains what happened. He said they knew they were coming in for a loss. It was an election cycle. They knew what they were doing. They understood they would have to go back out and rebuild those funds. And the alcohol abuse on set on his television show. Every co-host said, I don't know what the hell they're talking about. He was never like that. So not only does he deny him, he has the factual proof and witnesses to back it up, all against anonymous sources. Every single one is an unnamed source. The same unnamed sources, I bet, that the New York Times and Washington Post used from 2016 to 2020, the makeup stories against Trump, that all were proven to be false. Russia collusion hoax. So in the past, as I've said, unnamed sources have been used to promulgate lies. But there was a time when unnamed sources were actually legit. Not anymore. Literally 100%, nearly 100% of the time, these unnamed sources have been proven to not be telling the truth because what they say is usually exposed or never comes about. So, excuse me there. West Point. There is now a controversy surrounding Pete Hegseth, or there was, in his admission to West Point that involves a significant case of misinformation that has brought into question the integrity and administrative accuracy of the United States Military Academy. Just to let you know, West Point is knee-deep in DEI implementation and actual usage. So some background on Pete Hegseth. Educational background, graduated from Princeton University in 2003. He was commissioned as an infantry officer in the Army National Guard following his graduation. The initial inaccuracy by West Point. West Point incorrectly informed ProPublica that Hegseth had neither applied to nor been accepted by the Academy. The information was provided on the record by West Point's Public Affairs Office, which they weren't supposed to have done. They were breaking the law. Hegseth responded. However, before we get to his response, for some of you all who may not be aware of who Pete Hegseth is, that is Pete. Obviously a ladies' man, a ladies' killer. Hey, he was a player. What can you say? You know? But he also, as I said, is and was a combat veteran, you know, and that's never more clearly seen than right here in this image. that he himself tweeted out or X'd out or posted. Maybe it's time for a SecDef who has led in combat, been on patrol for days, pulled a trigger, heard bullets whiz by, called in close air support, led medevacs, dodged IEDs, and understands to his core the power of this photo because he's been on that knee before. He's a true patriot. He's a soldier. His men are signing letters saying, we want him as our SecDef. So let's get back to where I was at. Hegseth's response. In response, Hegseth preemptively addressed the report that was going to be coming out saying that he never attended. He did this on social media, sharing his 1999 acceptance letter from West Point. And as you can see here, it says, how do I make this bigger? Bigger. Here we go. It says, we understand that ProPublica, the left-wing hack group, is planning to publish a knowingly false report that I was not accepted to West Point in 1999. Here's my letter of acceptance signed by West Point Superintendent Lieutenant General Daniel Chrisman, United States Army. There's the letter right there. Let me make it just slightly bigger. On behalf of the President and the Secretary of the Army, I am pleased to announce that the United States Military Academy has accepted you for admission. Sincerely, Daniel W. Chrisman. There it is, the United States Military Academy Admissions Committee, offer of admission to Peter Brian Hegseth, class of 2003. Now, ProPublica came out when they saw this. ProPublica editor Jesse Eisinger acknowledged that they were initially told by West Point officials twice that Hegseth had not applied or been accepted, which led them to initially believe they had a significant story. They believed that story up until Pete Hegseth showed them the truth. Here's his tweet by Jesse Eisinger. Hegseth had said that he got into West Point but didn't attend. We asked West Point Public Affairs, which told us twice on the record that he hadn't even applied there. We reached out. Hegseth spokes gave us his acceptance letter. We didn't publish a story. That's journalism. That's a damn lie. I was the media at one point in my career, not purposefully, but by chance because of the company I built. We became news media. And I'm going to tell you why that's a damn lie and that is not journalism. But before I get there, this misinformation, it was decimated by West Point Directorate of Communications. Per social media, per X, so take it for what it's worth, they've identified Teresa Brinkerhoff, a civilian public affairs officer at West Point, as the liar involved, although this has not been officially confirmed by West Point. Now, I said earlier, West Point is steeped deeply. It's a saying. Well, I'm walking through, there's so much shit here, I need a shovel. That's how deep West Point is in its DEI movement. We'll come back to that. So, West Point did issue a correction after Hegseth evidence was presented. West Point confirmed, lo and behold, oh, look what we found here. Look what we found. We found Pete's record. He was indeed offered admission in 1999, but did not attend. West Point issued an official apology for this so-called administrative error, stating, quote, an incorrect statement involving Hegseth's admission to the U.S. Military Academy was released by an employee on December 10th, 2024. They took the situation, unquote. They took the situation seriously, they say. And their apology is sincere. Bull dookie. They apologized after they were exposed. So what were the reasons for this misinformation? The first time, yeah, it's an accident. But can you please double check so we can confirm it? Oh, no. I'm good to go. He never attended. You go and you double check. She didn't. So this was purposeful and callous misconduct by the civilian. So possible reasons for this information? Well, look at the funding and the media influence peddled by leftists. Wealthy individuals or wealthy groups or billionaires, if you just want to look at it from the George Soros aspect, they support and fund media outlets like ProPublica, Salon, Mother Jones, Media. They all get their donor money from these people to create and write hit pieces on conservative figures such as Pete Hegseth and William Del Pilar. Oh, that's me. These stories are then picked up by liberal mainstream media like MSNBC and CNN, and they use them as authoritative sources and give it credibility, knowing it's a false narrative. They all work hand in hand. This is what you call a symbiotic relationship that serves to push political agendas under the guise of journalism. Nancy Pelosi kind of gave it away when she spoke at one of her pressers once in terms of their office will throw out the news to a news agency. The news agency will report it as an unnamed source. Then they'll come out on a press conference and they'll use that media article or segment to validate what they're trying to negatively and lie about their opponent, usually a conservative or a conservative cause. So she was saying, we throw it out there, they report it, then we use their reports to validate it as it must be true. This is no different. It's intentional misinformation. The repeated inaccuracy, again, raises questions whether this was an intent to mislead, given the political context of his nomination and the fact West Point is knee-deep in DEI trash. Now, why would they want to do it regardless of the fact they're knee-deep in DEI? Well, because Hegseth has been very, very critical of DEI, didn't earn it. Well, technically, it's called diversity, equity, and inclusion. And obviously, this crap leads to biases among the individuals who are opposed to him becoming SecDef. So, this lady, she may or may not be, more than likely she is, in my opinion, based off the information and research I've actually done as a journalist. I'm not an active journalist. I do my research more as kind of like journalism is kind of like being in college and researching for your paper, for your journal, calling people up, verifying things. It's no different. So my research leads me to believe this person was likely a leftist. The involvement of ProPublica, who is known for being far left and left-leaning, or having a left-leaning donor base, and its investigative journalism targeting conservative figures, obviously played a hand in all of this. They were looking to provide ammunition to progressive allies to get him voted down or to get Trump to pull the nomination. Not so fast, leftist haters. Support from Trump, President-elect Trump, has continued to sit there and say, he's my man. Now, there are Republican rhinos or military-industrial complex whores, meaning they shill for the military-industrial complex because they want more and more wars. And Pete's a combat veteran who has seen his men die. He doesn't want any more wars. So, some Republican senators, such as Joni Ernst, have expressed concern over Hegseth's past. Supposedly, she has shown openness to his nomination under pressure from Trump supporters. We'll be talking about Ernst's double standards and hypocrisy in another episode. There's so much of it. And we're going to be talking about how she offers no proof to allegations she's made about herself being a victim, no denial or fighting back against her husband making claims. She cheated. And she's also a military industrial courtesan. That's who Ernst is. And we're going to go deep. We're going to do a deep dive into Joni Ernst, who I liked when she first came out. But then as I learned who she was, I dug into her. I was like, no. Yeah. But she's not the only one. Look at this. This was the nomination of Merrick Garland, confirmed by 70 to 30 vote. These are Republicans who voted for a man they knew was a far core leftist who has proven what we already knew to be true as as head of the Department of Justice. Roy Blunt, Richard Burr, he retired, but Bill Cassidy, Susan Collins, John Cornyn, Joni Ernst, Joni, Lindsey Graham, Ron Johnson, James Langford, Mitch McConnell, Jerry Moran, Lisa Murkowski, Mike Rounds, John Thune, and I think Mitt Romney too, and Tom Tillis. And he's up for re-election in 2026. Now, I would wager that most of these will vote for Hegseth because they're going to be arm twisted. But if you were voted for Merrick Garland, why the hell would you have any issues with Pete Hegseth? Most of these people voted for Kitchana Brown for the Supreme Court, and that woman couldn't even define what a woman is. What's a woman? Oh no! You looked in the mirror. Yes. Are you a woman? I don't know. So he does have some defenders. Senator Tom Cotton criticized West Point for providing false information and demanded an investigation, highlighting the potential violations of the Privacy Act. So what is a Privacy Act? Well, it's called the Privacy Act violations of 1974. It protects against unauthorized disclosure of personnel records. You have to have permission to give that information out, and they had no permission. Excuse me. So unless ProPublica was able to show that, hey, we have authority, or that agency caught them, there should have been no comment. We cannot give that information out. And not only did they give it out, they lied about it, and what they gave out was not true. So what are the consequences for this woman? Well, obviously, there's going to be an internal investigation to understand how this happened. Well, that won't take long. Why'd you do it? I don't like Pete. Okay. What's the disciplinary measures? Well, depending on the findings, it could be formal reprimand, suspension, or being fired. She broke the law. That's a fireable offense on the spot. Will they? No, because they are deep in DEI, so they're going to protect their messenger. Public trust and accountability. What's the impact on public trust? Well, it shows us you can't trust even our most hallowed institutions like West Point. And if West Point is doing this, you know the Air Force Academy, and there's already reports that have come out about Air Force Academy individuals who chose not to go there because they were told on the interview, you got to be into the DEI if you want to get accepted. So why would West Point lie about Pete Hegseth? As I said, they're steep deep into DEI. So, political motivation. Given Hegseth's public profile and political affiliation, obviously there's a potential for political bias or even a vendetta by this woman. To be fair, y'all know I'm conservative and where I stand on this, but to be fair, it could be an administrative error or malfeasance. The fact it was not once but twice suggests this woman is a complete idiot, which that alone should get her fired, or intentional act. Now, here's my issue with ProPublica. A legitimate journalistic pursuit would focus on West Point's accountability process. It would examine how can such an error take place, my friends? We have to keep journalism at a high integrity. So we will investigate this. Who was responsible? And what measures are being implemented to prevent this future occurrence? This would not only serve to uncover the truth, but it would also ensure that institutions like West Point uphold their standards of integrity. Don't you think, my friends? I do. In essence, there will be an in-depth follow-up. That would become a new story. We started the story as a hit piece. Well, I mean, to be fair, they could go. We started this story to investigate if Pete Hegseth was really admitted to West Point as he claims. And what we found out is that information given to us was wrong. So we now shifted our investigation to determine how that information came to be wrong. Not once, but twice, my friends, because you deserve the truth. Hell no, if ProPublica would do it. They call it journalism just by not reporting the story. What I just described and what they should have done would be true investigative journalism. You aim to uncover facts rather than just report on the initial error. However, this actual coverage by outlets like ProPublica and its mainstream media allies seem more focused on the initial scoop of Pete never attended West Point, rather than what is misinformation coming out of West Point. Hell, ProPublica probably laughing at the bar with their other friends. Damn, woman didn't even know how to properly give out misinformation without getting caught. Look, people, the West Point misinformation incident involving Pete Hegseth's admission not only questions the integrity of one of America's most venerable institutions, but it also highlights how corrupt the media influence and political bias in reporting is. It's essential for an investigation to be done on this to restore trust and ensure accountability. But it needs to come from the Department of Defense once Hegseth is confirmed, not from West Point, whose leadership has shown greater alliance with the progressives and their policy than its plebes or its eventual soldiers and the country, which is we the people, and where it's supposed to be. Their alliance, that is. Obviously, this case underscores the need for transparency and accuracy in both military academies and journalism, especially when dealing with high-profile political figures. And there you have it, my friends. Pete Hegseth being biased against by West Point. Not the media, not a Democrat, but by a revered institution trying to take him out. Do not forget to like, share this clip, and subscribe to Grumblings Media, whether it's YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Pandora, Rumble. There's one more. Apple, Spotify, Pandora. No, that's it. That's it. And you can find all of these clips at grumblingsmedia.com. And our social media handles are under Grumblings Media. Until next time, my friends, I am William Del Pilar, and this is Fired Up.
Hey everybody, this is Big John from Grumblings Media, and I just want to say thank you for watching our content. If you want to support our efforts here at Grumblings Media, just smash the subscribe button right here, totally free, or just go ahead and consume more of our great content. Click either one of these two boxes.